if you know what you're doing, if you know what you want, you don't have to know how to get there. In this episode, I'm going to tell you about my worst week in India and the beginning of the best experience of my life. You'll learn what's the truth about Delhi. I'll also share some tips about Indian railway system. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing, and now let's begin. If you've watched my previous video, you know that I was just about to leave New Delhi after 3 months of living there and to set off to travel in India full-time. It was the beginning of November when I just came back to Delhi after the festival of Diwali. My journey was about to start and I had only 6 days to prepare myself for it. My to-do list had no end. I had to move out from my apartment, pack everything, and you can imagine I had a lot of stuff. To get rid of part of it, I wanted to send a parcel to Poland. I needed to do shopping, and this might sound like nothing important, but it was essential as I didn't even have a backpack to travel with. Decide where to go first, book a ticket. I had nothing was planned. Like, nothing was planned. Because of that, I got very stressed and the aura in Delhi didn't help. I wish I could show you the smog in New Delhi at that time. You could barely see through the air, you could literally smell and feel the pollution. It is known as the Great Delhi Smog. It led to cancellation and delay of public transport, trains, flights. I'd say it was reason enough to have the worst week. An emergency situation was officially declared, schools were shut, people were advised to stay home, but you see, I couldn't. Booking tickets last minute is quite a challenge. Luckily, they have a special range of tickets. I aimed for the cheapest train and the cheapest class, so for the non-AC trains. Budgeting and looking for the best deals was a great part of my journey. If I wanted to book a more expensive ticket, it wouldn't be a problem. I could do it by myself online, but I wanted to book the cheapest sleeper class. Long story short, I had delayed my departure for 2 days because of the ticket booking failures. There is a tourist quota. If you're on a tourist visa, you should have no problems with booking it at the tourist agency or at the tourist office at the New Delhi railway station, but I didn't have a tourist visa and I had to book it the same way as an Indian citizen. So if you want to book a Tatkal ticket, which is that last-minute emergency quota of tickets available to book at 10 or 11 a.m. the day before the train's departure, then you can go to the special office located next to the New Delhi railway station and get it from there. So I was told to come at 7:30 a.m. the next day to get my ticket. And then I started to feel sick. By the end of the day, I already knew what kind of sickness that was. Have you ever heard about belly? Makes your bond with a toilet very strong. And somehow, for 3 months, I managed to avoid it. What's the truth about Delhi belly? First of all, I don't understand why is it called Delhi belly, as you can get it anywhere else. In case you know nothing about it, it is a stomach infection manifested by rough diarrhea. It is said that it is inevitable to get it once you arrive in Delhi or in India, but it is not necessarily inevitable. I didn't get sick for 3 months and I was having street food. I was using the tap water in my apartment to wash my fruits. I was having fresh juice from a street stall almost every day. Yes, I was trying to be precautious at the beginning. For example, I started to take probiotics a week before my flight to India and then continued there for a while. I didn't have street food for the first week just in case, but the truth is that street food is totally safe as long as it is fried or cooked. You shouldn't worry. And also I didn't have ice from unknown source. That fresh juice I just mentioned, it was with no ice. Which brings me to the reason why I eventually got sick. First of all, I got a little bit careless after 3 months of being fine, and I had a thing called ice pan. I really don't know how to explain it, but I found a video to show you what it looked like. The link is in the description below. That ice variation of it is one of the sophisticated variations. Next time I will go for fire pan. No more ice. I had the worst night. After all, I got up at 6 a.m. to get that ticket. The line was outside, it was cold, I was freezing and feeling worse and worse with every minute. meanwhile, I started to realize why the lady the day before told me to come so early. She wanted me to be the first person in line, so I could get the ticket. Although I came so early, I was already third in the line. After over 3 hours of waiting outside, I got to the counter inside. Already knew I had no chance for the ticket. I eventually bought a ticket with a place on a waiting list. I had the ticket for this train, but I didn't have a berth. And this train was going to go for 38 hours. 38 hours. So I needed a place to sleep. Like, okay, I had to spend those 2 nights somewhere. I was a little bit stressed about it, but I thought, okay, let's go with the flow. Okay, let's go with the flow. After booking my ticket, I had to use a toilet. Like, right now. So I found a toilet on the railway station, which was quite nice, but there wasn't a toilet paper in it. And I didn't have any tissues. Unfortunately, there was no time. I will leave this to your imagination. On that day, I had to move out from the apartment and go to the post office to send that parcel. I also had to pack. I went back, and I think for the first 2 hours I was lying on bed and couldn't move. Finally I made it. I packed a 30 kg wheeler to leave at my friend's for the time I'd be gone, a backpack to travel with, and the 15 kg box to send. I brought it all down from the 3rd floor and went to my friend's apartment when I was going to crash one night, and directly from there I headed to the post office. I was an hour late and I was with this 15 kg package, and I wanted to do some shopping after sending it, so I was like, what the fuck? What was I supposed to do with this 15 kg parcel now? And I convinced them to let me leave the parcel in the post office for the next day, because everything is possible in India. Everything is possible here. I went straight to the post office in the morning. I was 10 o'clock sharp, and guess what? They told me that today the post office is closed and they can't send my parcel. Like, what happened? Why is it closed today? Okay, so here's the story. The day before, the Prime Minister of India made a decision to ban all the 500 and 1000 notes. They were of no use anymore. And I was leaving that day, and I was like, what am I supposed to do? So I thought, like, every time somebody says no to me in India, I'm trying anyway. So I asked them, are you sure that there's nothing you can do to help me? I eventually made a deal that we would prepare the parcel to be sent and I would transfer the money later. Which may sound like a simple and obvious idea, but the money transfer was not a payment option at that post office at all. One of the employees agreed that I would transfer the money to his private account and then he would send the parcel for me. Okay, so how much time do I have? Not much. I'm going back to my friend's apartment to have a quick shower, to pack my stuff. I still didn't have a seat booked on a train, but I boarded the train anyway. How did I survive the journey on a train? So I jumped into this train and I didn't know where I'm going to sleep, but I was lucky and surrounded by very kind people. They were traveling in a very huge group, and luckily for me they had one extra berth and they gave it to me. So I was saved for the first night, but the second night it was the same thing. I just got I slept on the berth both nights. So even though I bought a ticket with no berth booked, it was just the beginning. What I'm trying to say, so I arrived, which is where I am right now, at 7 a.m. and I didn't know how I'm gonna reach to the place I wanted to reach, and I didn't have money which were in use. So first thing I tried to do was to use that money, use that 500 note which was not in use. But there was a lady behind me who overheard me and she asked me if I need some change. And she exchanged my 500 note for 5 100 notes, so I was saved. When I arrived, I was still 70 kilometers away from my final destination. At that moment, I didn't even know where the bus stand was and how to get there, but I was drinking my tea, quite relaxed, not knowing what to do next, And that lady came back to me and she asked me where I was going, because she and her husband, they had a car in front of the radio station which was waiting for them, and they could drop me off somewhere. Thanks to them, I was already halfway to my final destination. It was just pure kindness, right? Pure kindness. If you relax and go with the flow, like trust your life, destiny, trust the universe, somebody will help you. The universe will help you. This is what I believe, because this is what happens to me here while I'm in India. And it's been happening before, and it happens this time, and it still happens. Just trust your life. If you know what you're doing, if you know what you want, you don't have to know everything. You don't have to know how to get there. I didn't know how to get here. More than just about the worst week, this story was about the beginnings of my best experience. The time where I started to not believe but know that all I have to do is to surrender and follow my heart. There will be still more lessons ahead, but looking back I can tell that this was one of the first pieces of the puzzle on my path to better understanding of how life works. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you want to travel in India with me, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I don't know what happens next, but I'm sure it's gonna be fine. It's gonna be better than fine.